Have you ever thought about where you might find your life's purpose? What if it wasn't some grand adventure, but from a hospital bed? That's the incredible story we're diving into today. It's about how one person's simple observation ended up transforming healthcare for literally thousands of people.
I mean, it's a pretty powerful thought, right? Purpose doesn't always have to be this big, loud lightning bolt moment. Sometimes it just quietly finds you, maybe in the last place on earth you'd ever expect.
And for the story we're telling today, that place was Room 417. Yeah, a single hospital room with a view that, believe it or not, was about to change everything.
So let's picture this. We're in Grand Rapids, Michigan. It's January 2013, so it's cold. And inside the Helen DeVos Children's Hospital, there's a 17-year-old named Tom Sikma. He's in an ICU bed, fighting a brain tumor, going through chemo. But here's the thing. Between his treatments, he's not just, zoning out. He's watching. He's paying attention. And he starts to notice something really important.
He's looking at his window, and he sees it happening over and over again. A patient who needs dialysis misses their appointment because the ride is late. He sees an elderly man just stranded, waiting for hours. He was seeing this gap, what he called an invisible barrier. And it boiled down to something so devastatingly simple, people couldn't get to the medical care they desperately needed. Okay, so here's the kicker. What Tom was seeing from his window, that wasn't just a local problem. Not even close. It was a tiny snapshot of a huge, nationwide failure in the system.
Let's talk numbers for a second, because this is wild. A full 25%, that's 1 out of every 4, missed clinic appointments are because people just can't get a ride. Think about that. 1 in 4 people who need to see a doctor can't simply because they don't have transportation.
And that 25%? Well, it adds up. We're talking about an estimated 6 million Americans missing or delaying critical medical care. And that's not per year. That's every single day. Wow, 6 million.
So there's a name for this whole industry. It's called non-emergency medical transportation, or NEMT for short. And the market for it is massive. We're talking almost $12 billion. But that huge number isn't just about business, right? It's a price tag that shows you the sheer scale of this human need.
And let's be super clear. The stakes here are incredibly high. This is not about being a little late or it being inconvenient. No way. For a dialysis patient, a missed ride can land them straight in the ER. For a cancer patient, a delay in chemo can mess up their entire treatment plan. This is literally a life-or-death logistics problem.
So this all brings us back to Tom, the teenager in room 417. His fight with cancer, it didn't just end with him getting better. It actually lit a fire in him. It was the start of a whole new purpose, a journey that would take him from being a patient to becoming a provider.
And his journey is it's pretty remarkable. So in 2013, he gets the amazing news he's cancer-free. Now, you'd think he'd want to run as far away from a hospital as possible, right? Nope. He did the exact opposite. He ran towards it. First, he becomes a nursing tech. Then he becomes a full-on registered nurse. And then, in 2018, he takes this huge leap and launches his own company to fix the very problem he saw from his hospital bed all those years ago.
And get this, he goes back to work on the exact same floor where he was a patient. It's totally full circle. But what he sees is that nothing has changed. That invisible barrier, it was still there, only now he's on the other side of the bed rail, he's the nurse, and he's watching his patients go through the exact same struggles. The problem was still very, very real.
So what do you do? What do you do when you've seen a problem this big from both sides, as the patient and as the caregiver? Well, if you're Tom Sikma, you don't wait for someone else to fix it. You roll up your sleeves and you build the solution yourself. And you start right in your own driveway.
And we're talking about super humble beginnings here. The whole operation started with just one van. The company headquarters, his driveway. He even roped in his brother Braden to be the co-founder. And for years, Tom was pulling these insane double shifts, working as a nurse taking care of kids with cancer, and then hopping in the van to drive patients himself. Just incredible dedication.
And it turns out the need was even bigger than he thought. The growth was just explosive. Look at these numbers. In 2021, they did 600 trips. The very next year, over 5,300. That's almost 10 times the volume in a single year. It just goes to show you that the problem he saw from his hospital window was absolutely real. So why did it work so well? Well, they were smart about it. They focused on the biggest piece of the puzzle. It turns out that wheelchair-accessible vans are the single largest need in this whole NEMT market. So by focusing right there, Ride Your Way was hitting the problem where it mattered most.
But they didn't just fill a need, they actually raised the bar. They became the very first provider in all of Michigan to get this special accreditation from a group called NEMT-SAC. It's a big deal. It basically means they're committed to the absolute highest standards of safety and care. They weren't just doing it, they were doing it right.
But honestly, this whole story, this mission, it's about so much more than just getting people from point A to point B. It's not just about logistics. It's about giving back what that invisible barrier steals from people, their lives.
Think about it. Yes, of course, they do the essential trips, the life-saving rides to dialysis or chemotherapy. But they also do the life-affirming trips. You know, a ride to an ice cream shop on a sunny day, a trip to watch a grandchild walk down the aisle, or just going to a baseball game. These aren't just rides, they are experiences. They are moments of joy. They are literally helping people live again.
And Tom himself said it best. His quote really captures the whole spirit of what they do. Life is so much more than going to doctor's appointments. And that's it, right there. The goal was never just about survival. It's about helping people truly live. So we end up right back where we started, with that powerful question that a teenager came up with while sitting in a hospital bed. It's the question that pushed him to get better, that inspired him to become a nurse, and that ultimately led him to build a company that's breaking down that invisible barrier one trip at a time. It really makes you think, doesn't it? What if getting there was never the reason someone missed their chance to get better?